Yes, good evening. My name is Wallace Gator Bradley, and I'm the host of the Bradley Report. I'm also the chairman of United in Peace, Inc. Got a very important show today. We're going to talk about a very important election, which is the first congressional district race. Okay? And we're going to talk about the legitimacy of people spending their money to help their preferred candidate by ad time so that the candidates can inform their public. Okay? I'm gonna have a special guest that's gonna call in because he can explain it better than me. This show was also brought together in this issue by none other than the chairman of United in Peace, Inc. I'm just the president, okay? She's the chairman. She's also the director of this show, the Bradley Report, okay? And she's none other than my wife, Terry Marsh Bradley. And the technical guy that's in charge of all whatever the fancy doodads, if I got to have them done, is Brother Omari. So without further ado, to God be the glory. That's my story. Let's get into this story right here, Brother Omari. It's a more cryptocurrency pack. Money boosting Jonathan Jackson's bid for Congress to a new total of $991,276 to help him buy ads. Can you take it up a little bit? Right there. The House Democratic 1st Congressional District candidate, Jonathan Jackson, is getting another major jolt to help, another jolt of help from the Cryptocurrency Political Action Committee, with new spending reported to the Federal Election Commission, bringing the total spending by the crypto industry on ads to help elect Jonathan Jackson to the tune of $991,276 as of Tuesday. That's to help him to do the ads. But the Sun-Times, I broke the story Sunday that the Protect Our Future PAC, bankrolled by the crypto billionaire Samuel Bankman-Fried, brought $500,000. Matter of fact, $500,000 and $500,026 and television ads on Monday. The Sun-Times reported the Jackson top rivals, Alderman Pat Dow and Senator Jacqueline Collins and business owner Jonathan Swain, they deploy the crypto special interest industry spending aimed at electing Jackson. Now, right there, they had nothing to say when the candidate in this race, I think it's about 17, she was able, someone spent $161,000 for her to get her ad on the TV. I heard nothing from these candidates or any of the other candidates. They said it was wrong for whomever paid to have the ads done for her. Okay? It's not illegal what this company did. And the other company, the new FEC filing, reveals that Web3 Forward spent $491,250 in media buys to support Jackson, one of 17 Democrats, in the June 28th primary battle to replace retiring U.S. Representative Bobby Rush. Well, three forward and protect our future political action committee are spending enough money to influence the outcome of the first district race. Well, that's nothing new, and it's not illegal. That's been done by others, but this is not dark money. That's been done by others, but this is not dark money.
Hello?
Okay, we got a caller on the line. Caller. Caller, can you hear me?
Yes, Gator, this is Ray. I've been gone for about 3 years. Do you remember me?
Yes, caller.
Yes.
Caller, can you hear me?
Do you remember me? We used to talk about Pritzker, Governor Pritzker. Yes. We used to talk about Governor Pritzker. I was gone for 3 years. I'm back, and I'm so happy to be back.
Hello? Caller, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear
may
me
have
now?
to turn your radio down.
Bradley? Mr. Gator?
Hello?
Jonathan Jackson speaking.
Okay, all right, Jonathan. Okay, I got you. Hey, man, I was just mentioning on my show the story that was in the Sun Times in reference to the cryptocurrency to the tune of $991,276. I'd like for you to explain. I tell everyone there's nothing illegal about what's happening. I've shared with everyone that's been calling me and telling them that you fit the bill for them to feel that you the best candidate for them to spend the money on to get your message out. So could you elaborate a little more on that?
Sure. In this process, you meet with a lot of different constituent groups. You fill out a lot of questionnaires. You also meet with PACs. I don't know these persons specifically. I have interviewed many people. I did not choose an independent expenditure group. They choose the candidate. And that's really the long and short of the story. Congressman Rush knows the operations. He's been in the Congress. His candidate of his choosing has been supported by a PAC, and that's a great thing. And there are 10,000 PACs in the city of Washington, D.C., and who they choose for which issue, nobody knows. So we are fully compliant with the Federal Election Commission. We'll do everything that's legal. These are the rules, and I'm honored to have received the support from across the spectrum. We've received the endorsement of Congressman Ro Khanna from the Silicon Valley. We've received the endorsement of Congressman Benny Thompson, who heads the January 6th Commission. I've received the support and endorsement of my good friend Chuy Garcia and Congressman Waters. We've had the support of Senator Bernie Sanders. We've had the support of the Amalgamated National Transit Union, Impact on the LGBTQ, on the Progressive Democrats of America. The Congressional Progressive Caucus has endorsed us, and even most recently, the Chicago Teachers Union has endorsed us. So we have support from a broad array of people. Very excited, very enthusiastic. We're gaining momentum. Our message is getting out, and very excited about it. So I want to thank all those that have voted early. I want to encourage people to, and we'd love to have your vote. Be your congressman to represent the 1st Congressional District.
You know, one of the things that's key, you got a lot of grassroots support too. They need to know that also. The thing about it, from what I'm reading, one of the PACs is supporting you because of your stance on pandemic preparedness. You know what I mean? Everybody got caught flat-footed when the pandemic came. Okay, and the COVID is still happening. You read the paper where individuals is going back and forth to the hospital. Could you explain that piece? Because I see where the others company that's about the future. Could you explain that from a business sense? Because that is your profession. Not only is the fact that you've been on the forefront in the civil rights fighting for African Americans, for Indian Americans, for all Americans to get their fair share and equity. And I know how a lot of us African Americans weren't fully aware of what the Silicon Valley was about, weren't fully aware how we missed a lot of things with the internet because we weren't prepared, like we're not prepared now within our community to be able to go online because we don't have the connection, the technology. Could you explain that to my viewing audience? Because that's key for them to know how your mindset has been about preparing everyone, especially African Americans, for the future.
Well, let me tell you, Gator, I am early on in my life, career, and choice of work, I've fell in love along the way with financial institutions. And it seems a little bit strange, but I do know that banks can make a difference. I was moved by the movie It's a Wonderful Life, that it's more important to have a friend in the bank than a friendly banker. When I've listened to Alan Greenspan speak, and they talk about how do you build these minority communities, it's about credit creation. You've got to have people from your community, from your culture to explain credit to you so you can have that credit counseling so you can get to the next level. That's the path of all immigrants and other persons. We've not had a full introduction to that. Since I was in high school, I've studied financial institutions. When I was in college, I was a runner in the New York Stock Exchange. I worked on 99 Wall Street for Travers Bell, who was the first African American to have a seat on the New York Stock Exchange on the 23rd, 24th floor. On that 16th floor was Reginald Lewis. I used to be in constant company with those gentlemen. I went down the block to 11 Wall Street, ran on the New York Stock Exchange floor, lived in Jersey and took the train back and forth. So those are my early years in financial institutions. After I went to Drexel Burnham Lambert in Los Angeles, and I became a credit analyst on distressed debt and high yield, also called affectionately junk bonds. I understood the makeup of the market. From there, I went to Northwestern University, Kellogg School of Business. I continued to study, and from there I went to, while I was in college at Northwestern working on my master's, I was training under Mr. Alvin Boutte and George Johnson and Cyrilla McSween at Independence Bank in the first Bank of Chicago bank analyst training program. So understanding financial institutions is something I'm very well versed in, and it'd be very helpful if we had other people in elected office that had put that same level of commitment, understood it before they throw stones at things, read, understand, gain some more knowledge. And so what I've shaped this thing, and all these experiences have brought me to date. So even while I taught at Chicago State University, and even while I taught at Kennedy King College, it was a labor of love because I wanted to share this information. I was teaching while I was also practicing business so they could see how things come together in real life. And now the culmination of all my experiences bring me today to dealing with the issues that are affecting our neighborhood on gas, guns, and groceries. Our people are in pain. They're suffering from inflation. They have the least amount of assets. This is one of the poorest districts in the entire nation. I mean, just today I'm outraged to see that we've had grocery stores to close on 76th and Ashland like a thief in the middle of the night, to see that we've had the Whole Foods store to close in the shopping mall on 63rd and Halsted. This is a war on the poor. We've gone from 50 years ago from a war on poverty to a war on the poor. They're taking financial institutions, bank branches of our neighborhood, closing grocery stores, and have eliminated many of the urgent care facilities within the hospitals. We have a war going on against our families, and we have to speak to this, be it from Commander John Burge having tortured people to the schools that have been closed. There is a war on our families. So I'm standing up to speak up, and I want to talk about the future of our district, and that's what I've made my messaging about. Where do we fit in 5G technology? Where do we fit in solar? Where do we fit in electric vehicles? Where do we fit into fintech? Where do we fit into DLT? Where do we fit into the GSM markets and beyond on where telco is going? We have to be focused on the future. Guess what? We could not participate in America in the agrarian society because we were in slavery. We could not participate in America in the Industrial Revolution. Why? Because of Jim Crow and discrimination. I do not want to see our generation left behind again with 80% of the wealth is not being created in the stock market, is being created through these new technologies. I want to educate, inform, and bring these resources to our community, and I'm excited about it.
You know, I'm excited too. You know, a lot of people say, Gay, you know, because we all got friends with the candidates that's running. You know, it ain't no hard felt, ain't no evil thing about it. But one thing I know from going back and forth to Washington, that's why I love the Congressional Black Caucus, because I learn so much when I go there. And one thing I realized, this 2022 election is so important to us as a people. Very important. Make no mistake about it. There's two things. The congressional race is not the same as an automatic race or a state rep or a state senator race or a mayor's race or a county board president or a county commissioner's race. You have to have seniority in order to bring stuff back or the resources back to the district. So everyone that's running for office, that say they want to run for office, they got in their mind that, hey, we need to be elected 2 or 3 times in order for us to really bring something back to the district. The alternative to that is relationships that has been built over the years and over the decades. You got 30 or 40 plus years of relationships, okay? You pretty much grew into where you at. And like you just mentioned about the Jim Crow and we couldn't get stuff because of that. Well, you have survived that, okay? With the knowledge that you got from the struggles. Like I tell everybody, you was carrying a picket sign when you was at 7 or 8 years old. You know what I mean? So now you at the level where you're at to help educate us to things that we didn't know. You know what I mean? And I'm glad that you made the decision to run, because you didn't have to run. You was all right where you was at.
Gator, listen, I have been so fortunate, so blessed. I'm so grateful to my mother, my father, and to the people around this nation, around this city. They've been so kind and gracious. My mother and father have had a walk of faith and a lifetime of fighting for our people. And something about being in that environment, it gets into your bones. It's the only life that I've known. So I am happy to do my part at this time. If Tyrone Davis were alive today, he would certainly see the hands of time have turned back. You know, he thought it couldn't happen, but it certainly has. The fight that's going to be under the rotunda and the Capitol is going to be the fight of our lifetime. We've gone from securing the right to vote to now who's going to count the votes. There are record amounts of money that are going into Secretary of State's races around the nation. There are records amount of money going to Attorney General races around the nation on who gets to certify elections. I want to lend my voice, my intelligence, and my courage. You have to have courage. And when I look at the field and some people that have been in office a long time, I think of Methuselah. What was Methuselah known for? Just having lived a long time, but didn't do anything. I mean, so you've got to do something. When I saw Anjanetta Young, a black woman, butt naked, sitting in her room with all those officers, and I saw no one speak up for her that were in public office, I was outraged, you know. So that's an indication of where they're going, what they're up to. When Commander Burge had been torturing African-American men, we had plenty of elected officials, in the words of Reverend Martin Luther King, that were engaged in pious irrelevancies and sanctimonious trivialities. They were doing something, but it was irrelevant. They weren't speaking to the issue of the day. And so you've got to be able to hit the ground and speak to the issue of the day. And these aren't relationships that are inherited. These are relationships that are earned. If they had been inherited, Mr. Rush could have passed on more endorsements that could have been of some value. But it doesn't work like that. People have to know you, trust you, believe in you. So I'm honored for all those that have endorsed me, supported me, and I look forward to working with them in the Congress.
You know, I know you're real busy, and I appreciate you for calling in. But I want to say this to my viewing audience too. See, I voted early, okay, so that I can have the Bradley report and report to you what is happening, okay. But one of the things that's key, and I don't want you to miss this. It was his father that made me a part of a delegation, his delegation, to go to talk with President Bill Clinton in the Oval Office in 94, January of 94. The day before,
history, Gator.
yeah, it's real history, it's real talk.
History,
That's real history. To talk to the president to convince him not to support that crime bill. And Gator, ex-felon, ended up getting a pardon, raised by Push, was able to read and saw where they had a thing in that bill that said if I had caught a reefer case, now they call it cannabis, and I caught a reefer case, a bag of reefer, and later changed my life around and went to school, I wouldn't have been able to get a Pell Grant. So I was able to share that with the president and with Jesse and the rest of everyone else. They took that out of that crime bill. But then they realized that was the worst bill. And that's why we in the position that we in today. But because of fairness and redemption, we knew it was important for us to elect Biden instead of keeping Trump in office. Because he said he was sorry. So I'm just saying, punch 34 if you're in the 1st Congressional District. I want to share this with you too, sir. My family in that district has done it. You know what I mean? From the youngest baby boy.
Yeah, I certainly appreciate it. I've got to go now. You've been so kind and generous with your time. And if you'd please allow me to come back, I would be glad to.
Oh, you got it. Hey, man.
We got less than 7 days to go, and I got several more stops, and I appreciate it.
Hey, man. Well, you know me.
I feel like friendship, man.
All right. Hey, man. I love you. I love your parents. I love your sisters. I love your brothers. And I love everyone. I'm telling everybody, don't choke, vote. And with that, I want to say to God be the glory. That's Gator's story.